What's up, Titan Nation? Welcome back. And free agency has just began as the Tennessee Titans pick up a left tackle, Dan Moore, from the Pittsburgh Steelers, baby. Woo! We are back. Oh, yeah. He has 13 sacks last season. Oh, no. What are you doing, guys? What are you doing? What are you doing? I'm just kidding. So, like I said, free agency has come upon us. We start by getting a left tackle, 26-year-old Dan Moore. I'll read you some of his stats, go over them. Let me know down below, guys, what do you think of this pick? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Is there any offensive player, offensive lineman that you see that would have been a better fit? In my eyes, my thing was, hey, we definitely needed to work on the offensive line. Now, the Tennessee Titans have a lot of holes that need to be filled, and unfortunately, through the draft, it's not going to happen like that. You're not going to hit on every single player in the draft, and there's not enough draft picks to hit on all the spots we need, y'all. It's just facts, okay? As a Titans fan, we know this, okay? Offensive line's a problem, linebackers a problem, defensive line is a problem as well. Also, QB, we don't know. But this is a start. If we are going to get a Ward, if we're going to get a Sanders, we're going to have to protect this quarterback. You start by the offensive line. So I do like that we're starting with the offensive line. Get that thing fixed. Because regardless of who you pick, doesn't matter if we bring in a veteran, doesn't matter if we go with Will Levis, which people will hate, doesn't matter if we go with Ward, doesn't matter if you go with Sanders. If you don't have anyone to protect the quarterback, they're not going to do anything. They will not be able to do anything, regardless of how much skill the player has, how much of a talent he is, doesn't matter. Protect the QB at all costs. Left tackle is probably the most important position from the offensive line group, just because most of our quarterbacks, the ones that we have or the ones we're draft, are right-handed. The blind side, right tackle could be fixed, not as big of a need. Obviously a big need, but that left tackle is the most important on that offensive line. What do I think? Question comes up, it probably comes up to you as well, is, hey, what the hell happens to J.C. Latham? He was the left tackle last year, was solid for us. What's going to happen? Now, I read a report by Teron Davenport. He did ask Brian Callahan in the media when he was at the Combine. He goes, hey, what are you looking for? What can happen on the offensive line? He said, hey, we're looking for the best tackles out there. And if we have to move JC to right tackle, so be it. So, yes, it looks like there's a probability that JC Latham will be playing right tackle. But I feel like also it might be a little bit of a left tackle competition. They'll probably do it training camp. Hey, let's see who has the best reps, who has the better training camp. And from that, maybe they switch Dan Moore to right tackle and keep J.C. Latham at left tackle. You never know. You don't know what's the situation. You don't know what's going behind doors. But as of right now, it looks like we're going to stick with Dan Moore for the most part. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to tell you the contract. Contract is 4 years, $82 million, $50 million guarantee, which is kind of, I feel like it's a little bit pricey, but hopefully he could help us out because, man, this offensive line needs some help. Now, some stats. Had a 92.5 pass block win rate with the Steelers last year. 76.2 run block win rate, was 23rd in the league last year. Just a little bit above J.C. Latham's average. Now, the only problem is kind of a sore spot that everyone kind of looks at and they're like, okay, he allowed 13 sacks last year with the Steelers. But again, if you have a Russell Wilson, and I'm not vouching for him. I'm not saying, well, this is the reason why. 13 sacks allowed is still a bad stat to have. But Russell Wilson has a tendency of holding the ball a little bit longer than usual. That could account for some of the sacks. But still, it's 13 sacks regardless. Hopefully, he comes in with a new mindset, maybe a new team. Maybe he changes his whole game. Maybe, maybe he had an off year last year. Maybe it was a problem last year, and like he struggled last year. Again, he was, I think, the 4th or 5th round pick for the Steelers in 2021. Been solid, around with that team. So, like I said, hopefully he comes in. A lot of people are upset. And, they see the big 13 sacks and they kind of discredit and say it's a bad pickup. Again, I'm a little bit more of I'll give the player a chance before I criticize it. I do like the pick just because it's helping out the offensive line, regardless of where this team goes. It kind of shows you what they're aiming for, offensive line. So maybe, hey, it's a possibility we do pick up a QB in the draft. But it shows, yes, we need help. Hopefully there's a couple more signings later on today. Let me know down below. What do you guys think of this? Dan Moore, 26 years old, playing left tackle. Like I said, I think it might be a battle between both left tackles. See who can perform in training camp, and then we'll see. And maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they automatically move J.C. Latham to right tackle, and they keep Dan Moore at left tackle, and then go with a year like that. Maybe they switch on and off in training camp. Maybe they're like, hey, J.C., this week you're doing right tackle. We'll evaluate you. Next week, Dan Moore, hey, go right tackle. We're going to evaluate you and see how you do. And like I said, if the more versatile a player can be and can play any position on that offensive line, the better chances of them playing and staying with the team more. I mean, Mike Rabel was a coach who loved to excel at getting players that could move around the line of scrimmage, So we'll see what happens. Not mad at the pick. Like I said, we'll see what happens. I'm glad they're trying to get some help in the offensive line. That was my biggest key is if you're going to get a quarterback at number one, you got to protect them. You got to protect them at all costs. And I don't know if Dan Moore will be that protection, but we shall see. So let me know down in the comments below. Guys, remember, if you guys haven't seen any of the interviews I've done lately, had Eric King on, had Lavelle Hawkins, Matt Hasselback, please go back onto the channel, watch the interview, comment, like, do all the things. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. This is the channel for Titan fan, okay? Love y'all, and have a nice day, and tighten up, y'all.